So as a full-time golf coach, I'm going to share with you the two most common chipping mistakes that I see most average golfers make. The first thing I see them do is people use too much loft when they're playing a chip shot. In fact, they're not really playing a chip shot, they're playing a mini pitch shot. So they're using far too much loft on the club, which makes the shot more difficult. It's the one that people think golf pros do all the time on TV, and they don't do it as often as you think. They do it when they've got an elevated green to hit to, or if they need to get the ball in the air. In this circumstance here, I'm hitting from a downhill slope to a little slightly downhill part of the green, and then where the pin is about level with me. So we've got to go through a little bit of a trough. So it's very difficult to get the ball airborne from a downhill lie, but most people that I see are grabbing their lob wedge and sand wedge, and they're here and they're thinking, I've got to try and hit this in the air and I've got to try and get a little bit of spin, and they play a shot like that, and I've hit that about as good as I could play it, but it's no chance of me getting it closer. So that's not really the shot to make. When you can, use as little loft as you can. So the more we can keep the ball closer to the ground, the easier the shot becomes and the more consistent you're going to be, because what we're after is my 7 out of 10 rule. What is the 7 out of 10 rule? You need to be able to make the shot 7 out of 10 times. And if you can do that, you're going to be lowering your score. But if you're choosing the shot that you can only make 3 out of 10, that's a pretty bad choice, because it means 3 out of 10 you're going to be great, but 7 out of 10 you're not, and that's what's going to add strokes to your score over the long run. So don't use loft. We need to use less loft, and don't think of this as a pitch shot. It's a chip and run. That's what chip is short for, chip and run, not pitch. So the second mistake I see people make is this. They choose their club. I'm choosing a 9-iron because this is a pretty fast green. I'm choosing my landing area. I've put a golf tee down there, which is just to the right of where I want to aim. And I see people going through the motions. They're rehearsing the shot they want. That's good. They then take their setup and they take one last look, but instead of looking at the landing zone, they're looking at the flag stick. If your last look is the flag stick, you're probably going to hit the ball too far in the air. And the common exclamation from most people when I'm teaching them is, oh, that chip and run shot that Uri is banging on about, I always chip it too far. And they're blaming the fact that I'm telling them to use less loft. No, the real reason they're hitting it too far is they're not focusing intently on the landing zone. They're looking at the flag stick. We've got to block the flag stick out. In fact, once I've chosen my club and my landing zone, I no longer look at the flag. The flag is irrelevant, because I know that if I use this club and I can land the ball in this area here, it's going to end up pretty well. So we just have to focus on that landing area. So I have my rehearsal, and it's my length of swing that's determining my landing area. Once the ball lands, it's the loft of the club that will make it roll, or the lack of loft on the club that will make it roll. So that ball landed absolutely perfect in my landing zone. And as I said, it's a pretty fast green. It didn't look like it had enough club, but I did. I just aimed a bit too far left. So I'm going to have another go now, and I'm going to focus on landing this ball just a little bit closer to that tee. Still with a 9-iron. No looking at the flag. Focus on the tee. Landed perfectly level with the tee. The ball is running. It is quite a fast green and a little bit of late swing. That's more of the 7 out of 10 shot. So the key factors is for these two shots, take loft off the club. Don't use wedges if you can help it, unless you absolutely positively need to. This isn't a wedge, it's a 9-iron. And really focus intently on that landing area. If you can really lock into that landing area, you are going to hit the ball so much closer to the flag when you chip, you're going to lower your score. If you want to lower your score, I'm going to put a link to another video just up here I know is going to help you to lower your score.